Turn up your volume and welcome to eVision Live, brought to you from eVision and with Dr. Alexandra Kleeberg
and Dietrich Busacker. Welcome to a healthy, happy, fulfilled, wise life.
Your broadcast on self-healing and potential development. We have been discussing already 3 times on the topic of the archetype of wisdom. So it's now our last and final session on the archetype of wisdom.
It was on gratitude, smiling,
and blessing. And we were so surprised to get so many positive feedback on this last broadcast on blessing. Thank you very much. It was really encouraging for us. We didn't expect it. For us, it was quite difficult. But today we are very excited about this theme because it's really about the question, do you want to be wise? So it really resumes a little bit what we have been discussing before. And it's really exciting about, I've learned a very lot during the preparation of this. And do you want to be wise? So you can learn about wisdom in this broadcast. You will experience 4 ways to wisdom. So really that's something that you can practice. We will discuss about that wisdom is not know-it-all.
Or smart ass.
Yes, you want to be nice. And we have something on wisdom of the unconsciousness. And I'm very excited because we will have lots of wisdom from all different cultures. Not so much science today, but rather methodology and knowledge of cultures.
Listen, I didn't find research science on wisdom.
There's not so much science on wisdom.
If you find some, please tell me.
Please tell us. But we will have Einstein, we have Chinese wisdom, we have Japanese wisdom, Indian shamanic wisdom, Christian wisdom, and Muslim wisdom. Mm-hmm. So really a whole branch of all cultures and religions that we will discuss here, and it's that inspirited us so much to do this. And we have 3 wonderful stories that you brought along, and we have at the very end, so please stay to the very end, a guided imagination by Alexandra on really how to get into your wisdom. And the question, do you want to be wise, will be answered at the very, very, very end. So please stay there. And what is, Alexandra, what is the difference between, let's see, what is wisdom about? What does it mean? What is wisdom?
Wisdom is an insight, I would say, about nature, about life, about society. So a panorama insight or overview. And it's also a certain sort of behavior to do the right things at the right time and to think the right thoughts for a special situation and so forth. So it's an overview as well as a wise behavior. And
smart behavior, right decisions, yeah.
Yes, there is a difference between smartness and wisdom. Like Rumi, the mystic you mentioned, he said, yesterday I was smart. I wanted to change the world.
Yes.
And today I'm wise. I want to change myself.
Oh, beautiful.
So there is a difference between that, and we will come closer to that during this interview. I think what's important, we are on self-healing. And so the question might be, why is wisdom important for self-healing? Or what does it have to do with health?
Yeah.
And as I view symptoms and sicknesses, they have to do with anxiety, with fear, with what we call the sympathetic nervous system, which is going on when it's stressed. So for me, almost all the symptoms there are in this modern world have to do with inner stress, maybe with outer stress as well, but with inner stress mainly. And for the cells to repair, And for the body to recover, we need to switch into the parasympathetic system, which is its task is to relax, to digest, to feel erotic, to feel pleasure, and so forth. So the cells don't repair when they are afraid, then they just need to deal with the things
emergencies around.
Yes, the emergencies around. So they need this inner peace to relax and to start to repair itself. And the system repairs when it's relaxed and feels in peace and feels in deep trust. And wisdom is one way to zoom out of stress into trust and peace.
So does it simply mean just just get I don't look at anything, and I just keep out of dangerous things, and so I don't look, as we think maybe these images, and here we have a Japanese, it's could all be Chinese, but I think it's mostly attributed to Japanese culture and wisdom, as the three apes, right? No see, no hear,
don't speak,
and shut up.
Yes, yes.
Well, at least in Western European culture, it's a little bit shut up and then maybe have fun or so, but it's not very positive. So really keep out of everything instead of being engaged. Don't stand up for something. So it's a little bit negatively.
Yes,
seen.
And you're referring to what I said in all these other videos about wisdom, that it zooms out. And it doesn't mean that we don't see what we can see, or hear what we can hear, or talk what we can talk. It just means traditionally it's the wise three apes. And it means don't see things that are bad for you, or that are not in harmony, or that are not in what you might translate from the Japanese in beauty and in harmony. And don't hear about words that are not in harmony, and don't talk things that are not in harmony. Harmony is very, very important for your health. It's coherence. Coherence is the status of optimal health, actually, or of good health. So it means don't watch things that don't bring you into your inner coherence. Don't listen to things that bring you away from inner coherence, and don't talk in a way that you bring yourself out of inner coherence. And this is, I think, a very, very modern topic. When you see, and there comes research in, when you look at the research about all the aggressive things we watch on television, we watch on video games and so forth, we know that this is not healing and healthy for us. It might be fun, but it's not really healing and healthy for us. So I don't have a television at all. I don't watch television. I maybe go to a movie theater maybe 4 times a year.
And you just watch the comedies or so, and
I love to watch the comedies, but not the problem films. I have the problems in my practice with other people coming in, so I don't need that.
I'm not that sensitive, so I'm not that much triggered by so bad pictures, but everybody is reacting differently.
Just be aware that images or that movies that don't bring you into inner harmony and coherence, they might not bring you into health and healing. So rather stop that.
And actually many world leaders or big company leaders, they don't watch television at night before going to sleep and watch the news where they're getting all the bad images.
Yes. And don't listen to words that don't bring you into harmony. There are songs that are not good, or that are
negative words.
They are aggressive or whatever. So watch for that. And this is also proven by research. And the other thing is, which we call in Germany, we call it mobbing. I think it's also stalking or whatever. That you express bad things about people. And somebody leaves the room and you say something nasty about him or her. So that you shouldn't do as well, because it doesn't bring you and society back to healing and health. So I think these 3 apes are very stabilized by modern research. If you want to have a healing energy and if you want to come into harmony with your body, you rather be careful about these 3 things.
Okay, now we had this wisdom of the 3 apes. Now I have the wisdom of this guy, is not that old, Einstein, and his wisdom in this case is that the problem cannot be solved on the level it arose from.
Yes.
So this means, actually, maybe he was thinking also about technique, because I think also in mathematics,
physics,
like geometrical problems, often they can't be solved within the system. You have to go outside, you have to draw the line outside, or you have to look at something different to solve a problem, to make an invention. So, but you apply this also to the human being and our psychology.
Yes, when you're in the middle of a crisis and in the middle of emotions, then you can't solve this problem on the level where it arose. When you have maybe somebody who is hurting you and you scream at him and yell at him, it's not a solution to that problem. Or women like to argue, and this often doesn't bring the solution, because then the other man or partner gets defensive and we are stuck in a problem. So we can't solve it on this level. We need to zoom out of this. We need to zoom out of this situation. We need to zoom out of this emotion. And we need to zoom out of the belief systems that structure this situation. So we really have to get out of it to watch it from another perspective.
Okay, and for this we have the wisdom of some old Chinese wisdom, a beautiful story about a Chinese farmer and a Chinese
and his wise neighbor.
His wise neighbor.
Yes, and there is this farmer who is stuck in all sorts of situations, and he's reacting emotionally to that. He gets either upset or gets depressed or gets excited, and there's this wise man who watches that, what the farmer does from another perspective and on another level of insight. And I will tell you how the story goes. The farmer was very, very, very upset, and he ran to his wise neighbor and said, "Oh, my horse is gone, my horse is gone, my horse is away. I'm so sad, I'm so angry, it's gone." And the wise neighbor, he was very involved in emotions and in the situation, he just leaned back and says, "I wonder what this is good for." So this is another perspective, right? It's not within the emotion, within the atmosphere of that tragedy. It's in a time perspective. Maybe it's good for something. So the next day, the farmer comes very excited, very happy. "Oh, my horse is back." And it brought another horse. "I'm so happy now, I have 2 horses." And he's
male
very
and a
excited.
female.
Yes, and he's in this excited emotions. He's celebrating it. That's the archetype of childhood. Yes, to be fulfilled with great emotions. And the wise man leaned back and said, "Well, maybe this is good for something." And the next day the farmer came very depressed and said, "Oh, my son rode this new horse and he fell down and he broke his leg. I'm so terrified, I'm sad."
And the
wise man, he said,
back.
"Well, we don't know what this is good for." And the next day, the farmer came jumping, exciting, celebrating, and said, "Wow, this is great. Today the soldiers came and they went to war and they knocked at the door and they wanted to take my son with them. And my son lay in bed because he broke his leg." And the wise man said, "You never know what this is good for." So you have these two levels, this one very emotionally entangled and the other one from another perspective.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So this is wisdom, to change the perspective and to come to an insight that calms you down and it makes you relax.
Mm-hmm.
This is the effect of wisdom. It calms you down, makes you relax and in peace with yourself and with whatever happens all around.
So, and now we want to show you 4 ways to wisdom.
Yes, you can learn it.
Wisdom is none of it.
I teach it, you can learn it, yes.
Okay.
There's probably many, many more ways, but we concentrated on these 4 ways
So
here.
we take 4, or you can practice them. The first one is a role reversal or change of perspective that we already said, but role reversal.
That's a very easy level. Children do it. They reverse roles all the time. So you can just, if you're entangled in a situation, you make a role reversal either with the one whom you're entangled with. It's maybe your enemy. So you switch roles with him or her. But you can also make a role reversal with a mountain that is watching the scene. You can make a role reversal with a dog that is watching the scene, or with a wall, or with a sofa, or with the
tree,
with the wind in the in-between space, or with a tree. It's the effect of role reversal is to change the perspective and to get other insights, which might be wise. So if you you are entangled in a conflict and you ask the mountain might say, "Oh, these humans, yes, I know they fight and then they take care of each other again," or whatever the mountain says. And the dog might say something else, and the in-between space might say, "Oh, there is a thunder here and I have to make a thunderstorm or lightning or whatever."
Or look at the beautiful sun, how the wonderful weather, why do you quarrel, why there you could go and swim in the lake.
Yes, or the thunderstorm says, the wind says, "Oh, just have a thunderstorm and it's all over then." Just play around with that, just change the perspective. You can change it with your fork or with your chair or with the sun above or the stars. Just change the perspective. It's one way to wisdom is to zoom yourself out of the conflict into something else.
And the second is to take a different spatial dimension. So just not a different role, but...
Yes, you zoom yourself out of everyday life. Some of my imaginations go, we have wings and we fly above everyday life and see maybe, oh, there are other couples fighting like that, or there are other people having similar problems, so that might help. Oh, this is just universal. You're not alone might be a wisdom. Or maybe others do it differently. You zoom yourself out of the earth and you see in America it's different than in Germany or in China or in Japan. So just have another sort of panorama overview on that. And see what comes out of that, what sentence, what wisdom comes out of it.
Great. Well, and the third one is to take the time line dimension. Take another timeline.
Yes, you zoom out of the here and now of the conflict or of this problem or whatever it is, or entanglement. You zoom yourself out and you put it on maybe on a lifeline, and you say maybe, "Oh, I've managed that 10 years ago and it was much heavier, and so I learned a lot and now this is easy." Or you zoom yourself or you open this time space to the future and you say, "Oh, this is the fertilizer of my tomorrow. I don't know what this is good for. Or you zoom it to the beginning of the Big Bang and to the end of the universe and see this is just a fly shit in space and time or whatever. So just try to zoom it into different time spaces, actually.
Well, it gets a different importance in this. It changes in importance and it gets a different...
And see what wisdom comes out of that.
Well, and now the fourth one. The fourth one, we will just keep watching. It will come a little bit later because I have another question before. We have been talking about what is the difference now between wisdom and, let's see, know-it-all or smart-ass. What do we say? Because we have acquired the wisdom and, we want to give it to the others. How do we do to prevent that we are just taking for know-it-all, for smart-ass?
Yes, I think real wisdom is connected to the heart. And in relationships, it means to come on eye level, because everybody on this earth has this wisdom. That's one of the last imaginations we were going to teach you. And I think it's sort of a small, narrow line between the two of them. When I tell, for example, my children some wisdom I experienced and I want to tell them to prevent them from mistakes or something, they mirror me back very soon and say, "Mom, don't do that, you're crazy," or "I don't want to hear it," or "just keep it to yourself." Yes. And when we do our fire ritual 2 times a year, where we burn all the attributes we have, one thing I throw into the fire in my imagination is being a smartass.
Okay.
And I hope when we're talking like that, we don't come over as smartasses or so. Yes, so it's a very, very thin line, I think, between the two.
Yeah.
And what I really love is it's a prayer.
From this lady,
Teresa from Avila. She's a Spanish mystic of the 16th century. And she has a prayer for those who are getting old and wise. And a prayer is, "Oh God, do this, do that." And we, as in the video on blessing, we took the religious part out, and I want to put the religious part out of that as well. And
so you made a wonderful translation into modern language, which is universal, can be applied by anybody.
Yes.
And well, you will find the full poem, I could say, down here in the link, together with a wonderful image. But you have a little bit some phrases out of it, which are the most, maybe for you, the most important.
Yes, I like them very much, and I read them. I'm not very good in doing that. I'm a rather spontaneous person, so I just wrote it down and I will read it to you. It's the prayer for those who grow old, and I changed it a bit, and it's like that. It's just part of it. I want to keep myself from the fatal habit of thinking I must say something on every subject and on every occasion. I want to release myself from craving to straighten out everybody's affairs. I want to be thoughtful but not moody, helpful but not bossy. With my vast store of wisdom, it seems a pity not to use it at all. But I want a few friends at the end. So I hope you will be our friends. And
we want to inspire, not to indoctrinate
not to boss.
You.
Yes.
No. Okay. Yeah. And so it really is this little difference between wisdom and this know-it-all, this line where you have to walk and think about it and use this, what do you say, in the fingertip?
I think No, it
Just
all
tact.
makes defensive or obedient.
Yeah, okay.
And wisdom makes you free at eye level and at heart level.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a different effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so when sometimes I get, I don't know, crazy emails, and I want to write, blah, 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 and then I sleep one or two nights before I answer, so it comes over in a good way. So I'm not entangled in this email stuff.
And you have this wonderful phrase that you said when we actually developed, when we were preparing this broadcast, wisdom fills the space between stimulus and response.
Yes. I think there is a space in between the stimulus and in between reacting, emotionally reacting, or in reacting with certain belief systems. And this is the door to wisdom.
So just keep the necessary time and use your wisdom for a good response to the stimulus.
Yes. And I think what's also important, that wisdom doesn't have expectation. It doesn't demand. It's just, it sets you free.
It provides the knowledge, it provides the information, but it doesn't expect from the other that she accepts it and takes it over.
Yes, and that's, if you feel free, it's wisdom. If you feel defensive, it might be the right sentence, it might be a wise sentence, but in some way it doesn't feel good. So it doesn't
resonate in the other person, but maybe just take the time, it will resonate in a year, in 2 or 3.
It takes some things I was defensive at the first time, then they resonate 5 years later, 10 years later, and I think, oh, my grandmother was right.
Yeah, exactly. So this takes us to the 4th way to wisdom. And this is the way looking inwards and sensing the wisdom of your heart.
Yes. This is another imagination I do, and very, very soon wisdom pops up. It just really bubbles up. And it's just an imagination. I have a similar one on Amazon, and we will put the link down there. And it's, of course, you close your eyes, you breathe in and out through your heart, and in the middle of your heart you have a golden stairway down, far down, and from far down you see a bright, shining golden light. And you go down step by step, and you leave all your belief sentences behind, you leave your emotions behind, you leave your entanglement behind, you leave all these levels behind because you want to reach another level. And you go down to the deep ground of your unconscious. And the light comes through a keyhole of a door. And on the door are the letters, entrance to your inner wisdom. And you form a question. You can form it in front of the door, or you can form it before you go down the stairs. Maybe, I have this in this situation, what shall I do? I feel this and this emotions, what is the way out, or whatever. Or I don't know how to plan my future, so what is this? So you knock at the door with this question, and you open it up, and so you see light, golden light, and you go in and you sit down in the middle of the light, and you formulate this question again, and you see and feel and hear and taste and smell what is happening. And then there develops the answer in this room of light. And this can be on different levels. Some hear words, some go in with the question, oh, I'm so unstable, I'm so afraid, so what can I do? And they sit in the light, and suddenly they see a tree very deeply rooted. And that was it. And so maybe being a tree, or having contact with trees, or walking into the forest every day might be the solution to this feeling unstable and insecure. You can hug a tree, you can make role reversal with a tree, you can touch a tree or whatever. So just listen to what answer comes. And this imagination is very short. It's not 5 minutes. It's very short. And within this time, always in my groups, there pops up a sort of answer.
Really crazy.
So just do that, do this role reversal thing, do that zooming out of the situation, and do this exercise going into the middle of your heart and ask the deep, deep wisdom of your unconsciousness, of your heart, and see what happens. Maybe it's a song. Some come up with a song, maybe scream and shout, or maybe all you need is love, or whatever. Just be surprised.
Okay, great. Thank you, Alexandra. Well, if you want to exchange more, please stay to the end, because we still have an exercise for you, and we still have the answer to the question, do you want to be wise? And but in the meantime, I want to invite you to join the Facebook group, Self-Healing and Potential Development. I think this is there you can exchange with others, and this group is slowly growing, and we will provide more input there. And you can see also the other videos of eVision Live and many videos from Alexandra on her YouTube channel, youtube.com/Alexandra Kleeberg. And this brings up a little bit what were the quintessence, what were the lessons out of today's wisdom, or the last 4 broadcasts on wisdoms. So number 1 is get into the parasympathetic mode.
Sympathetic
mode. Parasympathetic mode. Okay. Get your inner peace or your outer peace, which is very important for your health and your well-being. So this is one of the quintessence of wisdom. We have shown you 4 possibilities to zoom out of a situation. So either role reversal or
zooming out of room and space and time.
And finally, looking inside. So, and finally, we have said wisdom fills the space between stimulus and response. And wisdom has no expectation. It uses tact, it uses instinct in order to be applied in the right way. So, homework.
Homework is to try out these different possibilities, maybe invent some new ones, write them to us. Just get in touch with your own inner wisdom.
Just try it.
Yes,
and just be Einstein, your own Einstein, and just go ahead. And, well, if you have any new insights, please write them down here, as well as if any insights from these takeaways from this broadcast, please write them down here. And now we have the answer to the question. It comes from this man.
Yes, it comes from you as well. Do you want to be wise? Of course, you have an answer to that, yes or no. But Rumi has another answer.
Rumi, do you want to be wise? Then
throw away all wisdom.
And get rid of all your wisdom.
Yes.
So this is what he said. Well, I don't know when he said it exactly. Before the other one, where he said it's wise to change yourself. But I think it's also part of it to be distant, to be wise, to be distant to your wisdom. So thank you so much for being here.
Open your heart and start. Okay, bitte packen. Geht's.
Ja, du musst dann nicht am Ende so das...
Ich habe dich gar nicht mehr angetippt, gar nicht.
Nee, aber du hast dann trotzdem so selber dann irgendwie so...
Was habe ich gemacht?
Die Handbewegung schon gemacht des Endes, für die Leute ist dann Ende. Dann schalten sie am Ende ab. Ich will die Leute bis zum Ende beihalten.